Johnny Smith groove lick. It comes from a tune he did called Bag's Groove, and he plays the same lick 3 times over a 12-bar jazz blues progression. The objectives of today's lesson are that you can identify the notes of the scale, the Dorian scale that we're using, to find this lick, or to find the notes from the Dorian scale in this lick. Identify them and find out the relationship between those notes and the notes in the chords of the jazz blues progression. So, you've already heard the lick, so let's break it down and find out why that lick sounds so good. Well, first of all, it's all about timing. A very simple lick will sound good over a chord progression if you use the harmony in those chords to create tension in your melody. You only need a few notes and it can sound very good, as in the case of this particular tune, Bag's Groove. Now, let's look at the rip. First of all, you might be familiar with the minor pentatonic. So we're in the key of B flat, so that would be your B flat minor pentatonic. The Dorian scale just adds 2 extra notes. It adds that second note, which is a C. And it adds the 6th note, a G. So in our particular lick, we're only using 5 notes from the Dorian. We're using this minor third, second, and the root, and the flat 7th, and the 5th. So very simple, only a few notes, 5 notes, to play over a whole progression. And it sounds good because those notes change their relationship when the chord changes. In other words, the harmony around those notes changes. Now, initially when we start off, we come in a beat before, which is important because we sustain that note. Now think the band is playing B flat 7 and we're playing D flat, which is not in the chord. A B flat triad has a D, not a D flat. So that note creates tension. You can think of it as a sharpened ninth. In relation to the B flat 7, the lick, the 5 notes in the lick, that second one would be the 9th note, or the 2nd note, the root note, the flattened 7th note, and the 5th note. That's in B flat 7th. But when we change to the 4 chord, the relationship changes between those notes and the chord. Now, suddenly that note is the flat 7th note of the E flat 7 chord, and that note is the 6th note, and the B flat would be the 5th note, and the A flat, well, that would be the 4th note. And then the F is just the 2nd note or the 9th note. And when we get to the last part of the progression, which is you drop down to the 6th. Well, we're not playing anything then, but that same note carries over. It would be the 7th note, the flat 7th note of the G7. When we do the 2-5-1, over the 2-5-1, you notice that note's not in the C minor 7, so it has a different relationship. It's now a flattened ninth, which is an altered tension note, and that needs to be resolved. Well, we know that note's in the C minor 7. That note is not, so that's another tension note. That's the A flat, so that's a sharpened fifth in that C minor chord. And when we change to the 5 chord, the B flat, well, that would be a suspended fourth sort of sound. And this A flat over an F chord, well, that's another tension note, altered tension of the sharpened ninth. And then back to the F. We always end on that little figure, that A flat back to the F, which is what we call it's a guide tone. It's the 5th note of B flat 7, and it's a good note to resolve back to. For people who haven't developed their pinky, if you can't do that hammer on, there's an alternative. If you play it up here using your index finger and your middle finger, you can play it that way using the 2 strings. So don't forget, the most important thing is the relationship between these notes to create new and interesting harmonies throughout the progression. The relationship changes as soon as the chord changes. And so you notice a lot of guitarists, they'll just hold a note through different chords. They'll sustain a note like that, and you get the benefit of the change in relationship with the harmonies. So you don't need to play a lot of notes to sound good. You just need to place those notes in a position where the band makes those notes sound good. In other words, the background harmony makes the solo note sound really good. Anyway, that's today's lesson. Good luck with it.